Silhouette 2024 introduces a new AI-powered retiming effect, RetimeML. Like all the machine learning tools in Silhouette, RetimeML is here to solve the common problems in the cleanest way. With just a few controls, it produces clean and precise results that wouldn't be possible to achieve with other traditional retiming methods. Let's take a closer look. As our first example, let's try slowing down this clip and add RetimeML to our session. You can find it in the Time Nodes category. The default retiming method is set to speed, and let's leave it like this for now. With this method, we can enter our new desired speed value here. Instead of setting it to the more common half or quarter values, let's try slowing it down to something like 57%. But of course, this could be anything you like. Obviously, when we slowed down the clip, the duration of it became longer, and that's what RetimeML shows us here. We can easily set this as our new session length by just clicking on this button. And that's about it for the speed method controls. Let's play back the clip and see what we have. This looks like a nice slow motion. Notice that the sharp areas, like body and the face, remain sharp, while the motion blurred areas, particularly the hands, also get retimed properly by staying soft. We will see a detailed comparison with other retiming methods at the end of this video. With the RetimeML, you can not only slow down the clips, but also speed them up. Adding that extra 15 to 20% of speed can provide an additional punch of dynamics if the mood of the scene requires it, like with this chase scene. That being said, you can change the speed of the clips not only in a linear way. You can also create animated speed ramps by setting a few keyframes. This clip was shot at a normal speed, but it doesn't mean that we can't play with its timing. What I want to do here is to make the car enter the frame quite rapidly, then slow it down as it starts to turn to emphasize the speed, and then accelerate again at the very end. With the retime node selected, I start to go frame by frame from the beginning and set my first keyframe somewhere here, and enter the value of 200. Now my clip will play back at double speed. When working with the retime, I prefer to enable the graph view in the timeline. That makes working with the speed more convenient. Since rapid time changes can look a bit weird and jittery, I would move around 10 more frames forward in time and set my second keyframe with the value of, let's say, 40. To make the speed change even smoother, I can select both of these keyframes and change the interpolation mode from linear to easy in and out. And you can see how the graph became smoother. Now let's try playing it back. And cool, that's what I wanted for the beginning. Now let's figure out the end part. I scroll to the point where I wanted to speed up again, somewhere over here, hold Alt and click on a timeline to add another keyframe. Then go another 10 frames in time and set the speed back to 200. The easy interpolation is already enabled, so let's see what we have. By adding a speed ramp effect, we made our clip even more dynamic than it was before. There is also another retiming method that allows us to set specific frames instead of playing with the speed percentage. That can be useful when you want to do a precise time remapping or use a particular section of the clip to fit the desired composition length. I have a clip of a dancer that is quite long, and say I need to use only this portion with the jump and to fit it into 150 frames long composition. For now, that is a bit shorter than that. I drag it into the session that is already set to the desired duration, add a RetimeML, but now change the method to the set frame. Now with this parameter, I can choose the exact frames I want to use in my composition at a particular moment in time. So while my playhead is in the beginning of the timeline, I adjust the source frame until I find the moment right before the jump starts, and set a keyframe. But now if I scroll forward, you can see that my clip is frozen, And that's because we did not set up the second keyframe yet. Now at the very end of the timeline, I can add a second key and set it off frame where she lands. RetimeML will figure out the needed speed on its own to make the jump last the exact duration that I needed. And here we have a clean and smooth result. Now, you might be wondering why you would want to do a retime in a compositing software like Silhouette in the first place. Well, the most common use case would be when you need to comp various elements that were shot at different frame rates. If the speed don't match, it just won't look natural. Here I have a clip with some fire show tricks. But I don't really like these flaming cups in the front. They're just too small and don't look epic. So I wanted to add some bigger fire elements from both sides of the clip. Here's what my process looked like. First I found the frame where the ground was at its brightest point, frame hold it, and painted the cups out with the clone brush. Then I added the Sapphire flicker effect to emulate the light flickering from the larger fire elements and comped the ground back over the original plate. So it looked something like this. As for the fire itself, I found some great footage from Action VFX and another good clip with the smoke element. However, they seems to be shot in a real time and not like our main plate that is in slow motion. If I would just slap it on top, it won't look great. But not a big deal, since now we have the RetimeML. So I bring the footage into my session, roughly place where I want them to be, and play with the speed with the retime node until it looked right for my eye. 45% seemed to be a good value for me. I also made two smaller shapes on the ground, right under the fire, and used the color correction node to bring up the gamma in those areas to emulate even more light emission from it. Then the same transformation and retiming steps were applied to the smoke element. As a very last step, some Sapphire stylizing effect could be thrown on the top of the comp. And here's how the shot assembles step by step. And now it's time for the dessert. Let's compare how RetimeML competes with other retiming methods such as frame duplication, frame blending, and optical flow. Other methods can either produce choppy results, create too much of a distortion if the objects occlude each other, like here with the face, or produce quite a lot of artifacts around the fast-moving objects. Looking back at the drifting car example, notice how the image on the left almost breaks apart, while RetimeML result stays clean and consistent. And there you have it. Silhouette's new RetimeML node is a game-changing tool in the post-production world. With its user-friendly controls and top-notch results, it leaves traditional retiming methods in the dust. Visit borisfx.com to download a free trial and give it a shot yourself. I'm Elizabeth Postel for Boris Effects. See you next time!